I'm Brian Sargent, and on behalf of the Strategic Planning Group, I'll share with you this final report. Too many long-range planning reports wind up on a bookshelf, just collecting dust. We felt that this format would allow more of Woodmont's members and friends to hear these findings and continue the great work that so many members of this community do to seek, share, and serve. The information developed by this committee is posted on the Woodmont website under the News and Information section at www.woodmontchristian.org. These materials include information about how to access this audio-visual presentation on YouTube, meeting notes, the survey questions and results, and the presentation and table reports from the Congregational Breakfast. The board selected 30 people to represent as many aspects of our congregation as possible. It was a talented, dedicated group that took their charge seriously. Meetings were held once a month, and individuals and subcommittees did additional work between the monthly meetings. Over Woodmont's 71 years, numerous visioning committees have worked to keep us reaching out for better ways to serve God and our neighbors, near and far. Over the last 20 years, several committees have carried out this work. Much of the strength we enjoy today at Woodmont came from seeds planted by these dedicated people. Let's review the recommendations of some of these groups. Like today, 1995 was a time of significant growth at Woodmont. Overcrowding in the sanctuary, additional space for our youth, and creating ways for members to minister between the services in a central meeting area were high priorities. The 1996-1997 Futuring Committee felt it was important to be able to put our vision into words to increase opportunities for spiritual growth, and yes, the need for more space for our ministries. The seeds of the Education Wing addition housing our children and youth ministries were planted here. In 2005, the theme became Living the Vision. High priorities were to make our worship services even more meaningful and putting a great emphasis on small group development where so many meaningful lifelong connections are made. The 2010-2011 Visioning Committee affirmed many of the earlier initiatives and started exploration of the idea of a Christian Life Outreach Center. Women's ministry had seen great growth, and work was done to use technology to improve our communications. As this year's Strategic Planning Committee formed, a major goal was to involve as many of Woodmont's members and friends as possible. The committee wanted to hear the congregation's thoughts about our current and future ministries and direction. The first step to do this was the creation of a web-based survey. Using an internet-based web tool, John Stauffer led the charge in collecting and interpreting the data. Participation was great, with over 300 people responding. The next few slides show the process and results. Jeremiah Pyron shared these at the Congregational Breakfast. The survey contained 8 questions. For tallying those responses, the survey subcommittee, led by John Stauffer, assigned keywords to each response to be able to rank responses by the number of people who gave that answer. This slide shows one of the questions and an actual response. Although it was a great response, it needed to be in a data form that could be compared with all the other responses. The wordy response was distilled to a single word, outreach, so that it could be tallied with others. Although taking a great deal of time and discernment, all the responses were categorized like this. This slide shows the categories or key words that resulted from categorizing the responses. But this list doesn't show the relative importance that the congregation placed on each item. So a chart was developed to show the number of responses for each of the key words. This bar chart shows the number of responses for each of our types of ministries. Each bar represents how many members gave each response. As we zoom into that chart, it's clear that Sunday worship is most important to our congregation, with outreach taking second and third place, and youth next in line. We especially liked one responder who said, "They're all important." We also did charts, which analyzed the rankings by the age of the responder. As we zoom into this chart, we see that our space, utilization of our space, and parking were very high concerns among all age groups. There really was agreement on our significant challenges across our generations. We asked what ministries need more space, and again, sorted columns by age of the responder. As we zoom into this chart, we see that outreach was the strong first priority. This echoes what our board has said in that all our outreach ministries need adequate and appropriate space to fulfill their ministries. The next two categories show support for our youth wing renovation and the upcoming preschool renovations. Although there was support for a life center, it didn't make the top three and was neck and neck with the need for more worship capacity. This image is called a word cloud. Although seemingly a random mix of words, it is actually a sophisticated chart that ranks the survey responses by keyword. The size of the letters reflects the number of responses. So in this chart, outreach almost overpowers the other responses. It's another great way to see what is important to Woodmont's members and friends. This slide summarizes the survey results. The quick summary here is stated at the bottom. We love our spatially challenged campus, but would welcome more space to better serve our outreach ministries and our children and youth. On February 1st, a congregational breakfast was held to share with our members the thinking that had occurred in the strategic planning group meetings, to share the survey results, and to give the congregation time to discuss some key issues at their tables and report out to the full group. With 165 members attending, there was representation from all ages and a group really focused on discerning what is most important for us to fulfill our ministries. After presentations of our historical growth and current situation, key committee findings, a report on the preschool analysis and planning, and the survey results, each table was asked to take time to discuss 3 questions. Question number 1. If you had to give an elevator speech, a 30-second summary about what God's purpose is for Woodmont, what would it be? Question number 2. Do you think God is calling us to be and do more than we are today? And question number 3. If so, what is it? The comments reported from the tables were tallied, and the results showed, number 1, overwhelming support for renovations that will correct some facility deficiencies in our preschool. Number 2, the need to adequately support our outreach ministries and outreach partners such as AA and the Nashville Food Project. Number 3, the need for more communication about all outreach ministries that call Woodmont home. Many other great comments were made. Images of the tally sheets and table reports are available on our website, www.woodmontchristian.org. The committee's recommendations to the board are, number 1, full support of the in-process preschool renovations. Number 2, the overcrowding of South Hall is impacting the Nashville Food Project, AA, and Room in the Inn ministries. We recommend that a committee or committees be formed and charged with developing one or more plans to address the needs of all groups in South Hall and present them for consideration. As of the release of this report, this action is already underway. Number 3, the overcrowding of the 9:30 service is effectively closing the door to visitors who arrive at the beginning of this service. Someone new to our congregation, and many of us who have been here for some time, simply will not go to the front rows or climb over several people to reach the few available seats at the opening of the service. The recommendation is for one or more committees to be formed to investigate how to maximize our current capacity, to deal with the increasing parking needs, and to evaluate an additional morning service to accommodate the demand. It is anticipated that the additional service would be a bridge-style service held in Drewota Hall or other space. Parking will need to be increased to accommodate another service. Number 4, the other area of overuse is Drewota Hall. Used every day of the week and multiple times on several days, it is the most used space on our campus. Setup and takedown of the bridge service requires many man and woman hours per week. In addition, our largest classroom is room 105, which is standing room only when we have guest speakers or compelling topics. The committee recommends that a group be formed to evaluate the addition of a multi-purpose space on the south end of our main building, where the porte cochere is now. That would be a permanent home for the bridge and a larger capacity space for lectures and other activities. Number 5, our last recommendation is for an improved communication process. Even as the group was formulating this recommendation, an opportunity arose to elevate a church office staff position to include a greater emphasis and strength in communication. We see this as an important first step. This slide shows a possible location for the worship multipurpose space. Connected to our existing building, the main entrance would be on the upper level and make access from the south parking lots convenient. Connections could be made at both levels for convenient access to the children's and youth areas. Additional parking would be required. One option under investigation would be a technology that allows parking in grass areas such as those between South Hall and Hillsborough Road. One comment has been that our report doesn't encompass a big-picture, long-range master plan. A facility plan can only reflect the strategic thinking of a group. Woodmont's members are passionate and dedicated to our current outreach ministries and to effective inspirational worship. This plan mirrors those priorities. Our campus is ideally located and has sufficient land area to support more ministry facilities. Although the congregation didn't identify a new big idea, there will probably come a time when we see real possibilities for ways we can seek, share love, and serve others in new ways on our campus. This plan acknowledges those times by identifying sites where larger projects could be created at South Hall and the parsonage. Clearly, Woodmont Christian Church is home to people committed to serving God and their community. Our shared vision is to move forward with faith and prayer, to seek God and His will for our lives as Christian sisters and brothers, and to serve our community with compassion and dedication.